Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes Astrology, the most easy way to learn astrology. Always. Today with me is Alejo.
Hi everyone, how are you? Here reporting from the Acropolis.
Yeah, I don't know why when every time you say that, I feel like I'm back to the Eurovision. Greeting from Athens.
Greetings from Athens, Earthlings.
Yes, I'm quite envy because I love art and I love the whole Greek singing. So that's big things for me. Well, at this moment, if you see my background, I'm not in London. I'm still in tropical island Taiwan, not tropical, subtropical island Taiwan, visiting my family. And then I will soon now back to London. It's a busy month for me. So how about you, Alejo? What are you doing at this moment?
So I'm in Athens, always taking clients, consultations, patients, teaching for the faculty. By the way, on the 4th of March, I have a webinar, if anybody's interested, on unaspected planets in the chart, which is
Oh,
we're looking at all of the aspects. We're going to start looking at the aspects.
yeah.
So I'm going to do a webinar on what happens when a planet has no aspect at all.
Oh, that would be so interesting, especially because that is one of the signature in the chart if you have a
Yes.
unaspected planet. So, as you already says, from this week, we're going to introduce aspect one by one. And so we'll keep it very short, clear, and also very useful. So you know how to apply it. You know how to use aspect. I know for the beginner, somehow to explain and interpret the aspect is a challenge. So don't worry, you are you are in a good hand. Both me and Alejo, we are very experienced astrology teacher, and then we also learning through the difficulty challenge. So we will be helping you to learn the aspect and how to interpret it. And most important, if you have any question, please let us know, and then we will, answer it during the podcast. So Alejo, let's beginning with I think is the, uh, I should say, most important at the beginning of aspect. Let's start with conjunction. How about that?
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
amazing to do that. If I start with something like a 60 quadrant, people would just like,
Yes, exactly.
what is that? Well, okay,
Yes.
so let's begin with conjunction. So, Aleo, what exactly is a conjunction?
Okay, so conjunctions are when two planets. So remember, when we were looking at the charts, every planet is in a different sign and house.
Should I show
Now,
the
in
chart?
each sign, okay, if you're watching this, you can see the chart. If
Oh,
you're
yes,
listening
okay.
only, we will just
Yeah,
explain what Rod is
okay.
sharing. But basically, each sign, remember, goes from 0 to 30 degrees. This is because the zodiac is 360 degrees, because it's a circle. And we divide the circle in 12. So each sign has 30 degrees. So each planet is in a specific degree of the zodiac. So for instance, if you say I have Mercury in Sagittarius, it's never just in Sagittarius, it's in a degree. For instance, in the chart that Rod is showing, if you are looking at this, if you're not looking, don't worry, I just explain it. We are seeing the chart of Mozart, and he has the moon at 17 degrees of Sagittarius. It's not just in Sagittarius, it's in a specific place of Sagittarius, which is 17 degrees. So every sign goes from 0 to 30, I should say it's to 2959.
Mm-hmm.
And the planet will be located in a specific degree of the sign. So conjunctions happen when the two planets are on the same degree. So they are exactly on the same spot of the zodiac. So for instance, in the chart of Mozart, the moon is at 17 degrees 47 minutes, and Pluto is at 17 degrees 46 minutes. So basically, they are on the same place they're in the same place of the zodiac. They're in the same degree of Sagittarius. So this is a conjunction. So it's when planets. So basically, aspects are specific distances between planets, right? And because this is a circle, we measure the distance in degrees, not in meters or kilometers, from 0 degrees to 180 degrees, which would be all the way across the other side of the circle, right? So when we have a conjunction, the distance is 0 degrees. It means that the two planets are on the same spot. Now, there is something like, not an exception, but there is something that we do, which we apply, which is called an orb. So the same way that a light creates an orb of light around it, an aspect creates an orb of functionality, or of, how would you say it, Rod? Help me here.
Influence.
Influence, yes, an orb of influence around it. So it could be that the two planets are exactly on the same degree, or it could be they are 8 degrees apart from that position. So let's say we have a planet at, for instance, we have a planet at 0 degrees of a sign, and if you have another planet all the way up to 8 degrees of that sign, we will still consider it in a conjunction. So sometimes it's not exact the same degree. It can be 8 degrees up or down, and we still consider a conjunction. So basically, you need to imagine there's an orb around the planet of 8 degrees, and there you have a conjunction.
Yeah.
So for instance, in Moses' chart, we have the Sun at 7 degrees, and Saturn is at 1 degree. This means that they're 6 degrees apart. So even though it's not specifically on the same degree, because it's within the 8-degree orb, we still consider this is a conjunction. We still consider the Sun conjunct Saturn. And the reason we do this, it's going to become clear when we go to transits. But basically, the idea is that every aspect is a process. We are freezing a moment of a process. So it's not just an instant. It's like the whole process of the planets coming together and then separating. So during the whole process, the conjunction is working, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we are focused on the beginner, so we tend to keep it simple and easy. But sometimes, me, especially me, I like to add a lot of information to confuse our beginners. So I will try to hold my urge to add more things. But as Alejo explained, well, the 8-degree orb is what I learned and what Alejo learned from the faculty. I heard about some astrologer, they use the different type of orb, but that's okay. Use the orb you like. But what we learn as a beginner from the faculty, we learn the conjunction, opposition, and the square. And the tri. We give 8-degree of eight, like Alejo said, 8-degree up, 8-degree down, and it worked for me. It worked fine for me, so I continue to use it. So you can try. I heard about some people use 10-degree. Well, that's quite a lot, but we don't usually do that. Well. So,
sorry to interrupt. In Argentina, it's quite common to use 10 degrees.
Okay, that's interesting. That's
for the conjunction. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So another question: what does conjunction meaning in the chart? So, for example, yeah.
So this means when two planets are in the same. So imagine. Remember, we were talking about how the planet acts, and we said the planet in the sign is telling us how the planet is expressed, right? When they're in a conjunction, they mean that most probably they are coming from the same sign. So basically, they see the world in the same way, in a similar way. So this means that they come together into the world. So the two functions of the planet get merged with each other, and they act together, they act accordingly. So for instance, to say something quickly, then we're going to go a little deeper into the example, but something quickly. Mozart has the Sun conjunct Mercury. The Sun is who I am. Mercury is how I think. So this is a person who believes that you are what you think. You are what you say. This would be Mozart, for instance.
Yeah. So it is also, this is a process of the interpretation of the aspect, I believe or not, because it was so interesting. Before I prepared this, I went back to my old textbook and hand out to check out how to do the most easy and clear way to explain. And I find that which conjunction is the most important, because if you can explain the conjunction, then you can easily to explain all the other aspects. So when two planets, in my mind, maybe I don't know what Alejo think, most aspects, not only conjunction, all the other are also they working together, but in different way. So, but the conjunction is the most important. They working together, they act together. So, and they have an impact or influence toward to each other, and this is the key of the conjunction. Also, I don't want to add it too much, but this is very important. But usually we kind of easily identify with the conjunction. Yeah. So that's use another example to help our audience to, to understand apart from the sun, because sun is very easy. Let's use
Okay.
the moon and the Pluto.
Yes, let's use the moon Pluto since they are
Yeah.
such a tight conjunction. When
Yeah.
the conjunction is very close, we say it's a tight conjunction. In this case, it's
Yeah.
very, very tight. They're almost exactly at the same place.
Yes, this one.
Yes, so we imagine that this is going to play a major role in Mozart's chart. So
Yeah.
the moon, we said it's about how we take care, how we nurture ourselves, how we nurture others, what we need to feel safe, what we need to feel protected. And Pluto, we said, is kind of this impulse about life and death, and it has to do with this idea of what needs to be destroyed, what needs to be changed in order to growth to happen in the end, right?
Yeah.
So it has to do with power, control, change, transformation, perhaps the idea of death and rebirth.
Yeah.
Pluto, we also related it with things that are hidden, things that are invisible, but they want to come out to the light, right? So if we merge this together, it means that Mozart, even if it sounds strange, in order to feel safe, he needs to go down into the darkness. In order to feel safe, he needs, which is a moon word, he needs to transform and change his environment around him. In order to feel safe, he needs to achieve a position of power, because that's Pluto. We might also think that the moon sometimes represents the mother figure.
Yeah.
The mother figure might have been seen as a dark, powerful person who could bring death or life, because it's the idea of Pluto, right? Death and rebirth. Maybe there is this intensity in the way that he approaches the idea of nurturing others, so perhaps his relationships, or the idea of nurturing himself. Maybe he goes through periods, with Pluto, everything goes very intense. So maybe he goes through periods when he's very tough on himself and very demanding, and then through periods when he's more relaxed. So there might be this kind of sensation that he's not enough. Maybe he's like very self-demanding with his emotions, and he needs to go deep into everything that he feels. And these are the first ideas. And I'm thinking of, as I'm speaking about this, I'm thinking of the opera, The Queen of the Night. What's the
Magic
opera?
Flute. Yeah, Magic Flute. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking when you described the mother figure with the powerful or darkness. And I always remember that that soprano singing that kind of very powerful, very passionate, threaten her daughter to kill someone else.
Yeah, terrible. And once imagine, sorry, yes.
Yes, please. No.
I would imagine his inner world of feelings and emotions to be an intense place where he might sometimes feel super powerful, because he needs to feel powerful in order to feel safe. But because it's Pluto, sometimes, quite often, he might feel like the worst thing in the world, like he's completely powerless, because Pluto takes us to extremes.
Yeah. I also like that the things you're talking about, that he need that transformation from the darkness to the light or something. Well, the entire of the Magic Flute, this opera, is the story of a Freemason's idea about transformation. And that is so beautiful, as you describe this moon Pluto. I somehow always feel fascinating when we, as a beginner, when I study the chart, usually study some famous people or famous writer or famous, compositor or someone else, or playwright. You can find the character in their natal chart, and that's I think that's the most interesting way to learn astrology too. So today we learn how to put the two planets together somehow that you can say is a key word together, and to describe a a set of conjunction and how it has influence in this person, how it has influence in this person's life. A possibility, what do I say? It's not just totally like that, but also we learn how to do that because you added one planet's keyword and to another one and find the meaning in the person's life. So maybe we should give a little exercise, Alejo.
Well, yes, since we mentioned the Sun-Saturn conjunction in Mosa's chart, I would say try to think about how this feels. How does a Sun conjunct Saturn feels? Remember, the Sun is where I find vitality, where I express myself, where I create, what makes me feel special, unique about myself. And Saturn is this idea of limitations, restriction, difficulties, struggles in order to mature. So how does these two principles go together? How might it feel?
Yeah, I think it would be very interesting to see how you see this setup as Saturn conjunct the Sun, especially both planets are related to authority. And if you read his story or you watch the movie Amadeus, then that is a very interesting part. And you will understand how this set of Saturn conjunct the Sun play in his life. Well, I try to keep this short, and today we talk about a conjunction. So next week, Alejo, what are we going to bring to everyone?
Next week, we're going to be talking about oppositions, which is the opposite of conjunction, if you want.
Very good explanation. Well, so conjunction is putting together your degree, and in a circle, the opposition will be the 180 degree at that opposition. So, well, thanks for watch and listen 10 minutes astrology. I really hope you like this. And please, if you have any feedback or any question, please let us know. Leave in the comment area, and we'll try to reply you, or we will discuss that in our next episode. Well, until then, stay tuned. Bye.
Bye-bye.